You guys, I'm so excited to be here with you today. As you know, we came off of ESS last week, some great things that have happened there. That song brings me such peace, and hopefully as you guys journaled it, gave you some as well. Such a powerful statement, right? That we are light to many. And one of the things that I really want to talk with you guys about today is just our ability to be for other people. One of the things that I will tell you is a couple weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go to California and host some prospecting schools and with our agents down there. And what I realized is how critical in today's market than it ever has been is our ability to be for other people. So I want you to write a couple statements down. And I think these statements are profound, especially when you are learning the skill sets of, being able to be who you need to be for your clients. First and foremost is know who you are. Know who you are. Who are you? So to that song, are you light? Are you love? Are you gratitude? Are you strength for your clients? Who are you? But most importantly, the subject that I'm going to speak about today, and the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I think it's more critical in the sales process than it ever has been to get your clients to move into action. And that's our ability to be versatile and our ability to actually know the personality styles. And why I say that it's important to know who you are first is because if you don't know who you are, it's very hard to adapt to the other styles. And what I mean by that is we often think, okay, I want to be a driver because the driver makes me successful, right? Or I want to be the amiable because then I'll have more passion or compassion for people. When in reality, if we just own our personality style, then we can very quickly adapt to who we need to adapt to. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is last week at the prospecting schools that I hosted is I had the opportunity to go in and listen to one of our agents on their phone calls. And he is very much so this great big teddy bear that I absolutely love and adore. However, because he's so masculine and because of his personality style, he comes across pretty strong and pretty loud, right? And what I realized is how critical it was to get our clients to move into action right now is being who we need to be for them. In fact, if he's on the phone, hopefully he's okay with me sharing this, but I was like, Dan, down. You got to bring that tone down. You got to be who you need to be for your clients. And so really just understanding who you are and then being able to adapt to the other styles. The second thing that I want you to write down before we jump into this, and because it's critical, is I don't want you to quickly jump to who you think they are. What I want you to do is I want you to first determine who they are not, and then decide who they are. I ask you why? Because the process of elimination, right? And oftentimes, and like I told the agents in California a couple weeks ago, is we often will have a personality style that we will act from if we're in a place of stress or we're in a place of hurry or if we're in a place of, worry even, right? Just there's so many things. And if we really think about it, our clients are going through so many emotions, whether they're buying or whether they're selling. And oftentimes there's life circumstances that are in place because of what they're doing, right? And so what I would tell you is determine who they are not first before you decide who they are. And then my little key note to this, you guys, is I always will tell my coaching clients is make sure you put this at the top of your notes. Why am I doing that? It's so that when I go into a listing presentation or so that when I'm dealing with that buyer, I remind myself of who they are so that I remember that I have to adapt to who they are. So this client for specifics, right? We have Dan who I think he's an amiable, but often, and what it sounded like on this phone call is he comes across as a driver, right? And then because he drove, then he has this high level expressive female who, will often protect herself when she feels that way. And so she'll drive back. And so it was an interesting concept to really see, right? That it wasn't going anywhere until I was like, Dan, down. And you immediately saw her just go, boom. And all her defense came down, right? He lowered her tone of voice, mirror and matched, used the tonality in regards to the conversation. So the rapport techniques, and it was really fun to watch the difference of that. So first and foremost, know who you are. Second thing, determine who they are not first before you determine who they are. And then there's also some commonalities to these styles. So I'm going to go through these quickly because I know we don't have much time because it's morning ascent, but I think it's critical for you guys to kind of have. So what I want you to do is I want you to create a quadrant. Hopefully you guys can see this. But essentially I want you to have the driver in the top left. You have your expressive in the top right. Then you have your analytical in the bottom left, and then you have your amiable in the bottom right. And maybe I can bring this closer because I know I'm a little further away from the board. Sorry, you guys. Hopefully this, if you can't see, maybe I'll use the darker color. But more or less, right? Every personality style has some things in common. So what I would tell you is the driver and the expressive. What do they have in common? They do everything fast. They make decisions quickly, they walk fast, they talk fast, they act fast, right? There's certain things that they do that are going to be a little bit quicker to things. So they're fast. The analytical and the amiable, typically, unless they're passionate, they're going to be slower in their processes, right? They're going to be slower to act. They're going to be slower to decision making. They're going to be slower to just in their talking. Right? For those of you who don't know me, I'm a high level expressive, if you can't tell, using my hands, but I'm also a driver, right? And so oftentimes you'll see a combination for me. So if those are the two things that these guys have in common, then we have the expressive and amiable. They will do everything based on emotion. Except for the difference, the expressive will do things based on emotion quickly. The amiable will do things based on emotion slowly, right? And so some things to kind of pay attention to. These guys are the ones that I will talk about when we talk about our skill sets of the fill, felt, found close. These are the individuals that you want to use that with. However, these guys will act quickly based on that. These guys will act slowly, so you don't want to box them in, okay? Then you have your driver and your analytical. These guys are almost always numbers oriented, facts, I would even say at some level, and details. Except for the difference with the driver is they don't want to know how you got those things. They just want to know the bottom line. The thing with the analytical is they're going to want to know the detail. They want to know every step of the way of what it is that you can do. So why I give you guys that quick quadrant, if I was on a phone call and I'm prospecting, how easy is it based on our conversations, if we're asking the questions, you guys, that we're supposed to be asking, you very quickly can determine who it is that you have on the phone. Okay, in not all cases, Jason Carlson, if he's listening, he's one of our brokers and managers that will always remind me it's not in all cases, but if you're asking questions and I would even say, in most cases, if you're asking enough questions, you very quickly can determine who they are, right? If we're going 3 questions deep, like we always talk about, that figure 8, you have that middle center of your close, you go question, 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 close, you'll understand quickly who your clients are. So real quick, I want to go through this and I want you to basically give yourself a little cheat sheet. You guys, for the first 6 years that I was being coached myself personally, I had this in front of me at all times. Because if I want my clients to move into action, or I want somebody to actually set the appointment with me, well, then I better be who they need me to be, right? And versatility allows you to do that. I remember when I first started working for George, I was like, well, I don't want to do that. That's not who I am, or that's manipulation. And the statement that I love that George would always say is there's 2 types of salesmen. You have your manipulator and you have your persuader. The only difference is their level of skill set. Right? Or there's no difference. Sorry. There's no difference in their level of skill set. Their only difference is their level of intention. So if you know these skills and you have the right intention, you guys, and you're being in a place of who you are, the light, the love, the gratitude, that genuinity, but then I go and I know that if I have a driver in front of me, I have to drive back or I'm going to lose respect. Or if I have that expressive in front of me, I better let them have the center of stage, even though I like the center of stage. Okay. Or if I have that amiable, there's things like that that you're going to want to pay attention to. Okay, so first we're going to start with the analytical personality style. And I'm just going to give some generals here for you guys. So first and foremost, like I said, they're low on emotion. And I want you to write these down in your box. Okay, they're low on emotion and they're slow in the decision-making process. They're very structured and they're very organized. So do not come to a presentation, you guys, disorganized or not structured, right? For my other expresses out there, you better come to get with your presentation looking presentable. Okay. We are often scatterbrained. I know that. They require facts, figures, and details, like we talked about, but they want to know the detail of everything. This is the individual that I might share what I do on a daily basis with if I'm in a listing presentation, how I'm going to get their home sold, what I'm going to do the process, right? They're often considered the perfectionist. So I call the analytical, I have nicknames for all of them. I call the analytical my perfectionist. And what I mean by this, you guys, is they're the person that's typically going ready, aim, ready, aim, ready, aim, ready, aim, and they never fire. Again, not out of criticism to their personality style. It's just who they are. They have to have every little detail in place. Okay. They're good at problem solving. So if I'm working with a buyer, I'm going to involve them in the problem. I'm going to let them think that they have a part in it so that they can help me solve the solution. Why? Because then they'll feel like we're working as a team even more. Okay. And they're very disciplined on their time. So my drivers and expressives out there, do not be late with them. Okay. They often have a sense of humor, but I would say it's a dry sense of humor. I often will refer to this, and because I have family back east, is I often refer to these guys as the East Coast sense of humor, right? It's just dry, witty, and I kind of have that sense of humor. Okay, their primary need is security and safety. So another thing that the Amiable and the Analytical have in common, security and safety. They have to feel safe in the process. Even though they're analyticals, and even though they have to have all the numbers, they have to feel safe with their numbers. That's why they're often called the perfectionist. Okay, just some ideas why we ask them what their job is, or maybe why they're moving, and if it's a job transfer. Well, let's talk about what their job is. If they're a CPA, if they're an engineer, if they're, if they've done any type of number-based business, if they have been in the military, oftentimes they're going to be analytical. Okay. So these are things that you want to pay attention to with the analytical personality style. Okay. The second personality style that I want to go through is your driver. Because again, I want you to know where they are. So your drivers, again, are low on emotion and they make decisions quickly. So again, you have your driver who's fast at what he does when he makes decisions. You have and based on numbers, but you have your analytical who's slow. Okay, because they need all of the detail of the number. The driver they feel very control oriented, and they often will take control of the conversation. So for all of my agents out there, or lending, title, whatever it is that you guys are doing, let them feel like they have control, but ask questions to get them to revert back. Okay. Always let the driver feel like they have control. They love action. So they like to be involved in what's going on, not to the level of the expressives and the amiables do. Okay. And they're going to often look to you to still get crap done. Part of my language, but that's what they want. Okay. But they still love the action of things. So they're very forceful type of personality styles, and they like to get things done. So for my agents out there, make sure that if you have a situation and you just don't know what to do, make sure you show these guys that you're getting it done, no matter what you have to do. Okay. Or make them feel like you're getting it done at least. Again, they're very bottom line oriented. And they often will seem rushed and impatient. Okay. For my drivers out there, don't take offense to this. Like I said, I have an underlining of it, but they're often considered to be the jerk, right? The person that people can't often get along with, because again, they appear to be arrogant. It's not that they are, it's just that they appear that way. I remember early on, I had a coaching client when I first became a coach, and she goes, Lynn, so you really mean that my husband's not a jerk? Yes, he's not a jerk. It's just who he is. So if you learn these personality styles, guys, it doesn't just affect your business. It affects your relationships too. And not just your intimate relationships. Imagine if you looked at your kids and knew how to approach that. Okay. So some things with the drivers, they're going to speak fast. They're going to make demands at you. Again, not because they're being rude. It's just that that's how they are. So don't take it personal. Understand that that's what you have in front of you. Okay. They often will have a one hand shake, or the one pump handshake when they shake your hands if you're meeting them in the lobby. And they might even put their hand over top of yours because they want to feel like they're in control. Okay. They're going to say things to you like, get to the point, Rick. Make this brief, Cindy. Right? Get on with it. Again, they're not being rude. It's just who they are. Make sure you're short, to the point, and direct. Okay. The more, for my expressives, if you drag on and on and on and on and on, and you give them the whole story and, oh, how great you are and all this other stuff, when you're in a listing presentation, guess what? Next, he's just going to look at you dead in the face and wait till you're done. Okay. So make sure that you're actually, again, giving them what they need and being who you need to be for your clients. Okay. Amiable personality style. Let's go to the next one. These guys are called, and what's funny is it literally is for me. My best friend is an amiable. Okay. Amiable personality styles. I often will tell you guys that the best salesperson in the industry is an amiable, as long as they can learn versatility and don't take offense to things. Okay. For my amiables on the phone, don't take offense to that message I just said. But it's reality, right? If you can make sure that you don't need as much of the things that we go through. Okay. So again, they're high on emotion and they're slow in the decision-making process. You cannot close these guys quickly. Again, you're going to use your feel, felt, found questions. How do you feel about this? Right? What is it? If Dan, would I make sense? Would you feel comfortable that we can get your home on the market today? Those are the things that you're going to want to say to them. Okay. They're going to use words with you like, I feel, or my intuition says, or they might even ask you, if you're a team and you're setting appointments, they might even ask you, am I meeting with you? And you better be the person meeting with them. Okay. Because they are so keen on their relationship buildings. They're very friendly and very warm personality styles, which is again, why I will tell you, they're great salespeople if they can learn versatility. And they're very agreeable. So for my agents and lenders, title, whoever on the message with me today, you guys, these are the guys that will quickly agree to an appointment with you and then not show up. They're also the person that you don't want to text to remind them of your appointment. Why? Because it's the easiest way out of the appointment for them without confrontation. So if you ever are on the phone and you're like, oh man, I just set that appointment so quick, I can guarantee you had an amiable on the phone. If you ever feel like, oh, that didn't take much, guarantee it was an amiable. Okay. So make sure you're going back, pre-qualifying, making sure there's enough value there. They're very soft-hearted and very empathetic towards others. Key thing to know about an amiable, they are always seeking approval. Always seeking approval. And they have to have, and I always will say this, massive approval from you. Okay. So if they come to you and they say something like, hey, Mary, what do you think I should do? Give them their options and let them know that when they decide on one, that you do feel that that's the best one. Okay. Because they're looking for your approval of their decision. Okay. And the other thing that I would just tell you for my agents on the phone, if you're just curious about this, if you're an amiable, you typically will only work your SOI and your past clients. So again, get versatile. Make sure you're adding just listed, just solds for sell by owners and expireds to your list. Okay. And then the last personality style, my favorite, as you guys can imagine. Okay. The expressive. Life of the party is what I like to call them. Or at least they think we are, right? Okay. They want the center of stage. So I'm going to do anything I can do. Like I said, I'm a high level expressive. I know I have an expressive client in front of me. I've got to give them the stage. I've got to make sure that I let them be the center of stage. Okay. They make fast decisions, almost always based on emotion. These are the people that if you get them at the right moment, they're going to make a decision to work with you quick. Okay. And they're very outspoken and very outgoing, just outgoing personality styles. They always appear key word, appear to be rushing around, like they actually have stuff to do. Okay. Again, because they want to look important. Okay. They like to be the center of stage or center of attention. Like I said, they rarely allow themselves to get bored. I loved a call that I had with one of my coaching clients the other day. He told me literally the wife got up and left and went to bed. Guys, that's a great example of somebody who's expressive, that if you're boring them, they're leaving the conversation. If anybody knows me, if I'm bored, I'm walking away. Okay. So just know it's, again, not because they're trying to be rude. It's just who they are. And they will almost always be late. This is the one personality style that you can be late with, and they'll be okay with it. Okay. When they're talking to you, I will often call the expressive the me monster. It's me, 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 me. Right? They're going to tell you everything about them and them and them and them, and maybe some of their family, but more them and them and them and them. They're going to use words like, this is how I feel. This is who I am. This is where I'm going. Okay. They're high risk takers, like a driver, right? They're high risk takers, and they will make decisions impulsively. The driver will make decisions quickly because they know they can make another route to get there if they have to, if it's wrong. The expressive will do it because it's all based on emotions, and then they'll mess themselves up. Okay. I see some laughter happening. I see some, it sounds like some things that are hitting the point with some people here. So this is exciting. Okay. So another thing with the expressives, they're another personality style you do not want to box in when you close on them. The amiable, you guys, will retreat and just quietly shut you out. The expressive will let you know, and they're going to kind of, I always will say, well, they're the ones that are going to give you the middle finger. Okay. Because you can't box them when you're closing on them. Also, the expressives need kind of that sense of freedom, that sense of independence throughout the transaction. So if I'm on the sell side or the buy side, making sure that it's their choice. Don't force them into something. Okay. Never box them in. Perfect. You guys, I know that was a quick and overall, hopefully you'll go back and watch this morning Ascent, because this is key. I'm going to give you 3 books that I always will recommend. And if you haven't read them, there's 2 of them specifically that I think need to be read on a yearly basis if you've been in the business. For my experienced agents, do not think that you can get away with not revisiting this every year. It is often said and statistically proven that if you revisit versatility on a yearly basis, again, on a yearly basis, you will increase your business by 20%. Just if you study versatility and that you make it a note. Okay, so 3 books. Versatile Selling by Wilson Learning Systems. And Russ, I don't know if you're there, if you can maybe type them in the chat so everybody can get them. But Versatile Selling by Wilson Learning Systems. Charisma Myth by Olivia Fox. And then I'm not sure who the author is on this. I always forgot it. But the 3rd book that I will recommend is Platinum Rule. You guys, Versatile Selling, if you look at my Versatile Selling, it is highlighted, thumb paged, everything over and over again. It is a great book. It is a little bit harder of a read because it is going to be more for my analyticals and my drivers, because it's to the point and gives kind of a workbook, but it is probably the best one out there to understand these things. You guys, it is our responsibility as great salespeople to be who we need to be for our clients. The one thing that I would tell you is your ability to adapt to a variety of people in a variety of ways is going to make you a great salesperson. Okay, so make sure that you're learning this skill set. Don't underestimate it. It is more critical in today's market than it is ever, because you're not going to get your clients to move into action forcing them, right? Or telling them what you think you need to, that is best for them. What you're going to do is you're going to get them to move into action if you're using these fundamentals. If you're understanding that maybe I need to close with a feel, felt, found, maybe I need to close with a yes or no, right? There's certain things that you have to do to make sure that they're moving into action. So I hope that what I challenge you guys today is, with this information, go and create yourself a cheat sheet, put it in front of you. Like I said, for the first 6 years that I was being coached myself, that was in front of me at all times. When I'm on the call, I'm going, oh, who do I have? But remember, I'm deciding who I don't have first based on who I have. For an example, an analytical or driver is going to almost always talk in numbers or details or bottom line right? What's my bottom line going to be? The amiable and the expressive, if you're asking questions, they're the ones that are going to give all their feelings. They're going to tell you how great their house is, how warm it feels, all of those types of things. And if you really want to get detailed on this, some of these books will share it, but it'll even tell you, walking into a home to do a listing presentation, the way the home is decorated, you can tell what personality style you have in front of you and who you have to win over. Let's just be honest, gentlemen. It's usually the lady, but that's not always the case, right? So you guys, I challenge you guys to go out and create this cheat sheet for you. Get it in front of you. Please make it a must for your business. These fundamental skill sets, and I promise you, the reason why I love this in itself is when I first learned this, I realized my little sister was not an expressive like me, right? Some of you have heard that story. She's an amiable. And so when I realized that, okay, I got to bring my loudness down and match her in her amiable state, our relationship became a lot better. So don't underestimate the skill sets of what we teach you here at Everest and the ability to use these, not just in your business, but in your personal life, right? It's what we always say is, become that best version of yourself so you can have the relationships, the finances, and the health that you're wanting to have in your life. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and close out with